sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. May all be happy. May no one suffer from any illness. May all see what is good in everyone. May no one suffer. This is our ancient prayer. Well, this subject of my talk this morning is spiritual initiation, what it is. English language is very young compared to the Sanskrit language, which is an ancient language. And most of the languages of India have come from Sanskrit. Spiritual initiation in Sanskrit is called mantra diksha. What is it? That means giving a spiritual aspirant a mantra with the help of which the spiritual aspirant will be able to experience God. And mantra. There is an ancient saintly scholar called Yaska. He said, mantra mananat. That is, mantra is something which is to be done mentally, and once one person came to Sri Ramakrishna, whom we know to be the divine incarnation of this age, and asked him, "Sir, what is the goal of human life?" Sri Ramakrishna, without a moment's hesitation, said, "The goal of human life is to experience divinity or experience God." How to do it? He said, by chanting the holy name of God and having the company of others who do likewise. Chanting the holy name of God. That is the secret. Any word which means God, chanting of that. Our mind is full of thoughts. Every thought that we think gets stored up in the mind. So from our childhood, what we have thought, all those thoughts are there. But those thoughts are not necessarily holy thoughts. They are worldly thoughts. And by chanting the mantra, that means the holy name of God, many, many, many times, millions of times, those holy thoughts will be stored up in our minds, and they will outnumber those other thoughts. One of our Swamis who was in this country, he used to call worldly thoughts garbage. Yes, that garbage has to be outnumbered, and then the mind will become full of holy thoughts. And when the mind becomes holy, it is called a pure mind. And a pure mind is a mind which does not have any selfishness. Unselfishness is holiness. And that condition of mind will be there, and then experience of God will come. But to chant the holy name, what kind of holy name of God we should chant? They said, to know that you should go to a proper teacher. Just by chanting a holy name of God, by reading a book, may be of some help, but it will not help as much as to experience God. That can be done with only the holy name or mantra, holy name of God, that will be given by a proper teacher. How to know who is a proper teacher? That is a question. Well, our scriptures say a proper teacher has to be Shrotriya. He must be well versed in the scriptures. He should be abrijina, that means he should be pure in mind and body. And he should be akamahata. He must not have any expectation from those who become his or her disciples. Akamahata. Will not expect anything from the students. Those who charge money for giving spiritual initiation, it is better to be aloof from those people. They violate the ancient tradition. A teacher must not take anything from the disciples. There was a Swami, a saintly Swami in India, in the 19th century, I think. His name was Nigamananda. So, once he was giving a discourse to his students, and then one person came and put a bag full of something in front of him and saluted him. Then Nigamananda Swami asked that person, "What does this bag contain?" That person said, "Well, this is my humble gift to you, sir. This contains 100,000 rupees. And hearing that, Nigamananda Swami kicked away that bundle. And that person who had brought that gift felt very embarrassed. He said, "Sir, revered sir, you won't get too many devotees who can give you 100,000 rupees as a gift." Then Nigamananda Swami said, "You won't get too many holy men either who can kick at 100,000 rupees. No expectation. Spiritual teachings have to be given for free, out of kindness of heart. Aside from that, a spiritual teacher never thinks that he or she is a spiritual teacher. A spiritual teacher thinks that it is God who is the teacher. And through some human instrument, God showers His grace. So the mantra also comes from the mouth of the teacher, but it has come from God. That's how it is. But a mantra has to be also very effective. Which mantra is effective? Our scriptures say the Siddha mantra. That means they have special power by chanting which some people have become God-realized souls. That means they have experienced God. Only such mantras are Siddha mantras. They have special power. I belong to the Ramakrishna Order, and in our order, our president keeps in his custody some Siddha mantras. And these mantras are given to the devotees who seek help from the spiritual teacher of our order. Siddha mantras. What is a Siddha mantra? I explain with the help of an analogy of mine. Let us suppose there is a person whose name is John. He goes to the doctor for a checkup. The doctor says he has malignant cancer in his stomach. He becomes very upset and comes home. When seeing his condition, his wife says, John, don't worry, you will be cured. And John has a little son. The son also sees that his father was very upset. So that little son says to John, Dad, don't worry, you will be cured. But their assurance does not have any effect on John. After 2 or 3 months, the best cancer specialist of that country comes to the town where John lives. And John is lucky to have an appointment with him. John goes to him. The doctor examines him and says, you are lucky. You have the kind of cancer which can be cured. You will be all right. We will give you the treatment and then you will be all right. And the words of this cancer specialist remove the sadness of John. Practically, this cancer specialist and his wife, John's wife and John's son, they said the same things. You will be cured, you will be all right. But the words of the cancer specialist have special effect. So also, a Siddha mantra is the holy name of God, which are like the words of that cancer specialist. And the teacher, when that mantra is given by the teacher to the student can really be helped. Also, when I was a young boy, I read a story book called The Arabian Nights. There I read a story, and that is, there were some robbers who robbed people, and the leader of that group, after robbing people and getting money from people, he would come with his assistants to a mountain. And standing in front of the mountain, the leader would say, "Open sesame." And immediately a cave would open up in the mountain. Then they would all enter, they were on horseback, and they all entered the cave and put the money there in a particular place for safety. And then they would come out of the cave, and the leader of that group would again say, "Close sesame," and the cave will not be there anymore. Opening will not be there anymore. So it is like a Siddha mantra is like that those words, open sesame or closed sesame, they have effect. And those who want to have Siddha mantra from the teacher, they have, first of all, they have to make sure that the teacher is well versed in the scriptures and his body and mind are pure, and he doesn't give spiritual initiation to get any kind of gift or even gratitude from the students. Well, when I was about 20 years old, I used to go to a holy man. I respected him because his life was very nice and good. And he had quite a few disciples. And those disciples thought that I would also ask for spiritual initiation and become a disciple of that particular holy man. But that thought would not come to my mind. And after a while, I prayed to God, God, please let me know who will be my guru. And strangely enough, I had a dream, and there I saw a saintly Swami of the Ramakrishna Order named Swami Bhaskarananda was giving me spiritual initiation. Then I woke up. I could not remember the mantras that he gave, but I woke up. And I said, what is this? It is a dream. Dreams are just figments of our imagination. So I didn't feel like going to him, and he did not live in the city where I was living. He was near Calcutta in Belur Math, and I was in another province, the capital of which was Shillong, and that's where I was. So, but it is strange that due to circumstances beyond my control, I had to have initiation from him. He visited the Ramakrishna Ashrama or Ramakrishna Vedanta Center in Shillong, and then suddenly an eagerness came to my mind. No, let me go and have initiation from him. So I went. And then he gave me the mantras. And when I got those mantras, I thought, how can I chant these mantras? Because as I came from a family, Brahmin family, and that is a particular caste. And there, when we are about 8 or 10 years old, we have to go through a ceremony called Upananam ceremony. Then a thread is put around our neck, not a thread, several threads put together like a garland, and that is put around our neck, and said, from now on you are a Brahmin, and you have to chant this mantra called Gayatri mantra. You have to be truthful, you have to respect all women as your mothers, and so on and so forth. Some vows we are made to take at that time. Gayatri mantra is a pretty long mantra. It is a prayer to God, Almighty God, for spiritual enlightenment. It goes like this. Om bhur swatat savitur varenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yana prachodayatom. O God, who is in charge of 3 worlds. In those days, they used to believe that this earth, other than this earth, there are 2 other worlds. And higher worlds, and God, who is the Lord of all these three worlds, I meditate on your effulgence. Please give me spiritual enlightenment. That is the meaning of that mantra, Gayatri mantra. So I started chanting that mantra, and I was asked by one who gave the mantra to me to chant it as many times as possible. I chanted it for quite a few years regularly and diligently. Then it became automatic. I would not have to make any effort. The mind would start chanting it when it was not otherwise gainfully busy. So when I went to have initiation from Swami Vishuddhananda ji, then a thought came, well, this Gayatri mantra has become automatic. Now, most probably it will not allow my mind to chant the mantras which Swami Vishuddhananda ji would give me. But no, strangely enough, when he gave me the mantras, Diksha mantra, he gave me two mantras, they became automatic. And Gayatri mantra was not automatic anymore. It's strange. Then I realized that through chanting the mantra, my mind had come under control. So whatever I would tell my mind, the mind would do it. That is a great benefit of chanting any holy name. The mind comes under control. I have seen in our order some elderly swamis when I was a young monk, and they're 70 years old or so, and I was at that time in the headquarters of the Ramakrishna Order, which is near Calcutta, called Belur Math. There are quite a few elderly swamis. There was one elderly swami called Suresh Maharaj. He had some physical problem, and then he saw a doctor. The doctor asked him to eat certain kinds of food and give up eating some other kinds of food. And the doctor also asked him to take only so many calories, the food containing so many calories and so on. Then he called me because he knew that I had a science background, and he said, you calculate the calories and tell me what food I should eat. So I made a list of all those things. But he never wanted to eat the other kind of food which he used to eat before. Just because his mind was under control. And I saw a Swami in our headquarters in Belur Math. There was a little fence in between the buildings where the monks lived and the other part of the monastery, Belur Math, where the temple was and the office was and all that. And there is a small gate in that fence made of bamboo. It would usually be kept closed. Only when we would enter, we'd have to open it. That particular Swami would every day fasten the gate. He would not let anyone open it. Every day without fail, when he would see that gate was open, he would come and close it. That was also because he must have done his spiritual practice a lot. So he told his mind to do this every day without fail. Anyway, So chanting the holy name not only gives God experience eventually, but it also helps a person to gain total control over his or her mind. And the student, I have told you about the teacher. Now, what the student should be like? The student should have Shraddha. Shraddha is a Sanskrit word. It means implicit faith in the words of the guru or the teacher or the parents. It is almost like devotion to God. Shraddha. There is a saying, Shraddhavan lavate jnanam. One who has Shraddha, he acquires knowledge. Not just secular knowledge, but divine knowledge also. So the student has to have Shraddha, implicit faith in the words of his or her teacher. There is a story in our books. It is in the Chandogya Upanishad. It is a holy book. There is a story about one young boy named Satyakama. He wanted to experience God. And with his mother's permission, he went to a teacher. The teacher's name was Gautama. He was a sage. And what did the teacher ask him to do? The teacher did not give him any holy name of God or mantra to chant or anything, but pointed to his cows. And in those days, cows were considered the wealth of the people. So many devotees had given some cows to Gautama, his teacher. And Gautama pointed to those cows, 400 of them. They were sickly, many of them, and said to Satyakama, you take care of these cows and take them to the proper grazing ground. When their number will be 1,000, then you come back to me. And Satyakama, who had gone there to get some spiritual teaching, he was asked by his teacher Gautama to take care of the cows. He didn't think, what kind of teaching is he giving me? But he had implicit faith in the words of his gurus. He followed his guru's advice. Then he took the cows to the grazing land. And then gradually the number of the cows started increasing. And one day, one of the bulls started speaking in human language. The bull gave him some spiritual teachings. And after a while, when he lit the fire, in those days they used to light the fire and pray in front of the fire. When he lit the fire started speaking in human language and gave him some spiritual teachings. Then another day, a bird gave him some spiritual teachings. Bird means a swan. There was a swan. The swan came and started speaking in human language and gave him some spiritual teaching. Then the fourth time, another bird, in English that is called the loon, I think. It's called Madhu. That bird started speaking in human language and gave him some spiritual teachings. And by getting those teachings, Satyakama felt extremely blessed. And when the number of the cows grew to be 1,000, then he brought those cows back to his teacher. And the teacher Gautama saw Satyakama's face and said, now your face is radiant with some spiritual light. It looks like you have become spiritually illumined. Tell me, who gave you those teachings? Then Satyakama said what had happened to him. So Satyakama had become spiritually enlightened by following the teachings of those four. And then the teacher Gautama said, you are spiritually illumined now. But Gautama said to the student, Satyakama said, but sir, you are my guru. You are my spiritual teacher. You give me the teachings. And then Guru Gautama gave the same teachings which those four had given to Satyakama, those mantras. And then Satyakama was satisfied. So this should be the relationship between the student and the teacher. That's what this Chandogya Upanishad wants to teach us. And I talked about a little about Sri Ramakrishna. One young man, his name was Niranjan, he used to come to Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna was no ordinary person, he was a divine incarnation. He could see through everybody and know their past, present and future as well. He saw that young man, his name was Niranjan. He understood that he was born free. That means he had come to assist the divine incarnation to revive spirituality. And Niranjan at that time was a young man, but he needed some money to take care of his mother. So he used to work somewhere. So one day Niranjan came to Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna just touched him. And then something happened. Niranjan started feeling that a holy name of God had entered into him, and he went on chanting non-stop. Not only his mind, but his entire body started chanting that mantra. See, this holy name can be sometimes communicated through touch also. And then he went home, but that holy name, his entire body and mind started vibrating with that holy name. He could not go to work. He couldn't do anything. In this manner, 3 days passed. Then he felt like going back to Sri Ramakrishna. And he said, sir, I cannot work and support my mother. Please help me. Sri Ramakrishna smiled and touched him again. And then Niranjan became the normal person. So, the Siddha mantras are very powerful. In the life of Sri Ramakrishna, we read about that. This Niranjan eventually became Swami Niranjanananda, one of the foremost disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. And so this is what happened to him. Siddha mantra can liberate a person. So, spiritual initiation means getting a Siddha mantra from a proper teacher. And that Siddha mantra will eventually give the person who has got that mantra God realization. So, the subject of my talk is spiritual initiation, what it is. This is spiritual initiation. That is getting the mantra, the spiritual life starts, and the mantra has to be obtained from a proper teacher, and such a teacher is called a guru. And in Sanskrit, every word has different meanings, but the word guru usually means heavy, but it has another meaning, dispeller of spiritual darkness. See, it is the spiritual teacher who is the guru. And the spiritual teacher will not have any vanity whatsoever. The spiritual teacher will think that he or she is only the instrument. It is God who is the guru. Sri Ramakrishna would always say that Satchidananda is guru. And the monks of the Ramakrishna Order who have been asked to give spiritual initiation, give Siddha mantras to devotees, they also think that they are not gurus, they are only instruments. And Sri Ramakrishna, who is looked upon as God, he is the guru. So, God is like a lake which has fresh water, and that water from the lake which is on the mountain is brought down with the help of pipes, and then through faucets people get that water. Same water. So also the human gurus are like so many faucets through which divine water comes to the devotees. I saw what change comes to the devotees after getting initiated. As I told you already that I was a novitiate monk in the Shillong ashrama. And there one devotee would come, a lady, her name was Mrs. Das. And she was from a very rich family, her family of landlords. She had inherited all property. She had only one son. She lived in Shillong in a very nice house. Then suddenly she became very sad. She would come to the center with great sadness of heart. And because she had arranged for her son's marriage with some girl, but when that daughter-in-law came, trouble for her started. For some reason she could not be that cheerful at all. Then she, with her sad face, she would come to the center and saluted the temple, but she was very, very sad for quite some time. And then Swami Vishuddhananda ji came from Belur Math to the Shillong ashrama, and people asked for spiritual initiation from him. And this lady, Mrs. Das, also was lucky to have spiritual initiation from him. After the spiritual initiation, a total transformation came. Her sadness was completely gone. She was cheerful and peaceful, that I saw. And another person was there, was an officer in the government. He was a neighbor of the Vedanta Center or Ramakrishna Ashram, which was in Shillong. He was just like any other person, not anything special, like any other worldly person. Then he got initiation from Swami Vishuddhanandaji, and then he retired and went back. After some years he retired and went to Calcutta to live in his ancestral home. And by that time I had been sent to the United States. And after so many years, when I went back to India, to our headquarters, then a Swami who knew me very well, he was in the Shillong ashram also, and he was very kind and affectionate. He said to me, he was in Belur Math at that time, he said to me, Jyoti, because that was my pre-monastic name, come with me, I am going to see Mr. Mukherjee, that officer who used to live next to our Shillong ashram. He lives in Calcutta. Then he had procured a car, and then by that car we went to that gentleman's home. And we heard that his wife had died. She also was initiated, and while dying she chanted the holy name of God and died. And he was all alone in that large house. And strangely enough, he was so peaceful. And he insisted on our staying there with him for a while. Then we stayed there for at least 1 hour. All the time he was talking about God. A total transformation had come after getting initiation. It is also said that when a guru initiates a devotee, some of the bad karmic force gets absorbed by the teacher's body, and the teacher starts suffering. That's what is said. I don't know. And it is said that Girish Chandra Ghosh, who was a great devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, he thought that he had committed many sins in his life, that he was a very famous man, a great dramatist and all. After spiritual initiation, or Sri Ramakrishna must have given him spiritual initiation, and then he acquired that cancer of his throat. So some people thought that it was most probably due to Girish Ghosh's sins which caused that cancer in Sri Ramakrishna's body. But we don't really know. But the divine incarnations have that ability to attract all the bad effects of karma from the bodies of the disciples. So Girish Ghosh was a very interesting person, very famous also as a dramatist and playwright in 19th century Calcutta. And one day, it was after the passing away of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda had become quite famous as an orator, and he had returned from America to Belur Math. Belur Math also was started by him, Vivekananda. Then one young man, a college student, came to Girish Chandra Ghosh and said, "Sir, I want to go to Belur Math to meet Swami Vivekananda. Can you introduce me to him," or something like that. Then Girish Chandra Ghosh said, "Why will you go to see Vivekananda? He is pure from his very birth. See me, what a wretch I was and what I have become. I am the miracle of Sri Ramakrishna," he said. So such transformation comes. Let us hope that if we have spiritual initiation, we will also someday become spiritually enlightened. Thank you very much.